This week in Incheon, we've seen Lin remind us of the quality that took him all the way to the title in the WTT Champions in Frankfurt in 2023. Nearly 17 months since that last WTT title, but he's looked good enough, hungry enough, and certainly in the mood to win one here. This is a semi-final to savor. So much to look forward to. Best of 7, remember, as we will be finding out in, who knows, maybe an hour or so, the identity of the first of our finalists. In terms of the head-to-heads for this one, it's a first ever WTT meeting between these two. Huge disparity in world ranking because Lee Sang-soo has in many metrics been playing above himself, riding the wave of home support here. We'll come back to that in just a moment. But first, a very special ceremony on the way. Pairut Virachai is in the chair, and now we are going to be finding the identity of a very special guest coin toss.
Ladies and gentlemen, to perform the coin toss for this match, please welcome Korean football legend Lee Dong-gu!
So as we await action from one Korean sporting legend, another comes to the table. 105 times he played for the Korea Republic national team. He played in the K-League until he was 41 years old. A superstar of Jeonbuk Motors and the Korea international team. Here is Lee Dong-gu, who now is a reality TV star as well, a real icon.
In red, Lee back. Red, Lin with the toss, should receive. Lee, just take this. Wait,
Nicely done from our celebrity there, who's going to have a little photograph taken. And why wouldn't you? This guy is a superstar. Adam Bobro's with me. And I can tell you, this guy's TV show is amazing. It's a reality show. The stars of yesteryear from the Korean international team take on other teams. They work their way through divisions, and it is compelling viewing. And that guy at 45, remember, he played professionally until 41, is as sharp looking as he ever was. So a little dash of glamour and local flavor ahead of this one. Adam's back with me, and this really is the one that I think's captured the imagination here in this country at least, hasn't it, Adam?
For so many reasons right now, there's just so much on the line. Lin Yun-ru has brought many people over by plane to be here. The Elon star, 23 years old, 3 titles to his name. Being outside the top 10 feels like he's just misplaced. He spent so much time in the top 10, and how he got here? Well, a victory over Shuefei 3-1, victory over the top seed, eliminating Tomokazu Harimoto 3-1, and Sora Matsushima, who was a nightmare for everybody, was unstoppable. He beat 4-1 in flying fashion.
Yeah, it was such an impressive run because of what he did. Just looking at some of the metrics here, in terms of points saved, in terms of game points and what have you, this guy is just batting way above his average. No surprise there, because with a world ranking of 45, it's been all about riding that emotion. He disposed of the 3rd seed of Felix Lebrun, then Anders Lind, who can be a tricky customer, before Lin Gao Yuan. And this is how he got that one done. Adam, give me a sense of just how big a victory and how big a scalp it was for Lee Sang-soo to take against the man from China.
It's a massive deal when you think about who is here and who's not here right now. A lot of weight was on the shoulders of Lin Gao Yuan when he was down 7-10. He won 5 straight points to set up a 3-1 lead. And it was a major opportunity. 34 years old. Lee Sang-soo is a big brother and then some on the Korean team. When you think about who else from his generation is no longer playing, Kim Tak-soo and Yoon Nam-gyu behind him, Yoo Sung-min is watching on. I mean, the legends of Korean table tennis, Hyun Jung-hwa, they're all here. You can see Yoon Nam-gyu and Kim Tak-soo watching from right next to the court.
Yeah, everyone's in. We've seen those from the association. We've seen sponsors. His parents are here as well. This is where everyone wants to be.
Special time right now with the fan vote, 85% behind the silent assassin. Well, I'll tell you, Lin Yun-ru has really bulked up in recent years. He's got a good squad behind him. And with a former team player for the Chinese Taipei team, who's also a college coach, has now been alongside Lin Yunru through some really wonderful results in recent history.
I'll tell you who isn't a silent assassin anyway is, of course, Wang Yitze. And the part that he plays as a cheerleader, as somebody who keeps the noise going for his silent player, that will be a factor in this one.
Love 1.
What's been behind, before we get into the story of Yu Sang-soo, what's been behind Lin Yunru's progress here? He just seems to have answers for anything that's thrown at him.
I think physical fitness, I think smoothness, agility, and lack of injury.
Yeah.
We're talking about somebody who's had some wrist issues on and off, who's bulked up a bit. When you saw him starting to take down the Chinese national team, he probably looked about 2/3 the player he is in terms of physique here today.
1, 2.
Which says a lot considering he's not the bulkiest guy. He's naturally thin. Got into table tennis a little bit later than most. Has his own training facility back home in Elon.
Just looking at this Yu Sang-soo story and working through some of the stats, in terms of game points against prior to this match, 16 against him. He won 11.
That right there is some mental toughness, and maybe the home crowd behind him as well.
Oh. 3. And that's the thing on Yunru. It sneaks up on you, doesn't he?
Yeah, behind the table, this power. This is a man you think of as one of the best Chiquitas, banana flicks in the game. But even behind the table, the reaction there says it all.
4, 2.
Leaving out the support, leaving out the emotion, and that's something I say in a qualified way. In a purely tactical, technical sense, what will Yu Sang-soo say are his strongest weapons? What does he look to unleash here?
He's really good in the open rally. His backhand inside the table is incredible. Parallels, he's got explosive power, but I think the receive in the short game is where he's going to have to excel here.
4, 3.
And this is a good example. Right at the baseline of the table, takes the opening attack. Really high quality opening from an uncomfortable position.
Talk about examples as well, and Yu Sang-soo is at 34 an example of tremendous physical conditioning as well. Just look at those legs, that lower body wouldn't be out of place on the same teams that Lee Dong-guk played on the soccer pitch.
4, 5.
There is a lot of pressure to make something good inside the table, because if Lin Yunru gets the first opening, it's tough to get back in the point.
6, 4.
There it is. That's the signature shot. Yu Sang-soo with the closed racket, stays close to get one back, but he has to use the safe length of the table, and Lin Yunru's right there waiting.
7, 4.
Of course, they're all very different personalities. It was fascinating to see how Sora Matsushima, it's just 17 years young, of course, crumbled really in the face of what he came up against. The impassive Lim gave him nothing. And you could just see the frustration got the better of him.
5,
Feeling
7.
that his 34-year-old opponent is made of different material, twice as old as Sora Matsushima, of course. But it'll be a similar challenge that he's confronted by. Lim just goes about the job. Impassive, efficient.
Yeah, definitely looks that way from the outside. Who knows what's going on inside that brain and the heartbeat right now.
5, 8.
Chole of his own. Good underspin on this, as he does quite an unusual passive receive here. Sits up just a little bit, but extra spin pays off.
9, 5.
Okay, point to point, it varies. is Lin someone who invites the attack? Who sort of sucks them into a feeling that, yeah, come and get me?
I can't generalize that much. I think when the occasion calls for it, he's willing to do that, but that comes from wisdom and experience.
Yeah, because when he needs to, he'll go on the front foot.
Right, it's not always to your advantage to do that, but it's a little bit counterintuitive, yet can be very important to win a match.
6 out of the last 8 points he's won.
11-5.
Score another
Game
one
to Lin.
to Lin Winru, as he has absolutely hustled his way through there. And part of his assignment today is to silence the home crowd, to take the sting out of anything that might stimulate his opponent here. Good start. And give us a word on his coach when we come back, because he's part of Team Lin Winru, isn't he? Very much.
Yeah, I think Lin Winru's team is constantly evolving. This is the life of an athlete. We've seen it from Shin Yubin, Hugo Calderano. People all have their own individual lives, whether it's family back home or simply like any other relationship. Sometimes things just change, you grow, become different people, or you need something new in your life. Wang Yitze, I've called the anger translator, has been really expressive from the bench of Lin Winru. That said, while he's a fighter, he's a very loving man. There's Kim Tak-soo on the right, a late great J-Pen player. Yoonam Gyu next to him, the first ever men's single Olympic gold medalist, 1988, here in Korea, not far from here in Seoul.
And it's not just Lee Sung-soo that's brought these guys out, it's the stature of this event. It's the WTT champions. It's big time, and there is Lee Dong-guk against another of the Olympic heroes.
And in the black jacket, Yu Sung-min, the fastest feet we've ever seen, the last non-Chinese singles gold medal at the Olympic Games, 2004 Athens. Yu Sung-min was incredible. Hyun Jung-hwa, we've talked about day after day. She's got a wonderful movie about her and her team and what the United Koreas did to beat China 1991.
One love.
The reach across the net and the finish from Lin Winru.
Love.
I actually sat right next to Wang Yitze as he watched the the quarterfinal involving Lee Sung-soo and Lin Guayan. I wonder what notes he would have taken on the Korean player. What would they have targeted, maybe?
He's not afraid of a long, fast serve. Remember, he was playing a left-handed shake hands player in the last round, so a lot to study.
1-2.
And he wants to get into open play when he can, and he wants to use the athleticism.
It really depends who's on the other side of the table. Athleticism, of course, if you have it and it's necessary, use whatever energy is needed. Closer to the table is going to be his best chances. And right here, that's what he does. He takes it early. Easier said than done. He's been bold. He's been brave to serve it long to the backhand here and there. This one a little bit shorter, gets a passive receive, and he's there to clean up. Again, with experience and wisdom, I feel like you learn to take away that baseline of the table and attack just inside.
2-3.
And I hear you guys so often talking about holding the table. It must take a lot of bravery. The closer you get, the less time you have to recover.
For one. Two, the closer you are to breaking a knuckle. Now this is an example of where a long stroke takes a long time to recover from. Lee Sung-soo backs up just to give himself a little bit of time and swats it back with Lin Winru on the other corner. That was very clever play. It's not an easy way to win a point.
And it just needed to come back, didn't it? And take advantage of the recovery there for Lin Winru.
The placement definitely helped, that it was on the forehand side. This is the long, bold serve that you asked what would Wang Yitze have recognized, and that Lee Sung-soo is not afraid to serve fast and long to the backhand. Takes his chances, had an ace on the edge in a crucial moment. That was in the last round.
And with that long serve,
3,
just
5.
to build on that, knowing it's coming is one thing. Dealing with it is another, isn't it?
Yeah, and you really can't know it's coming. You can have your guesses. You can be mentally somewhat prepared for it. But it's fast, it's alarming, and the pros are so good at making serves look exactly the same.
3-6.
It's a quality receive, that soft touch. To build your perfect player, the WTT has been posting with Table Tennis Daily on their social media. Players have picked Lin Winru for perfect serve. That's the serve they want. He is tough to receive.
I saw you on that,
6,
right?
4.
Ah,
Yesterday?
yeah, they released one, asked me some questions about building my perfect player. That bottle challenge serve from Lin Winru is so effective. Wouldn't be a surprise, though, that my choice for serves was also a lefty.
Oh, wow.
6, 5.
Raking across the table from Lin Winru.
That shot, so casual, the wrist. Man, the acceleration when he holds back, you could never guess how fast it would be if you hadn't seen it before.
5, 7.
But it's still 2 points now, the advantage for Lee Sang-soo, as he seeks to gain something of a foothold in this match.
Yeah, good advantage there right off the serve, going fast and long to the backhand. He got a passive receive out of Lin Winru, forcing him to back off the table. But Lin Winru didn't play cautiously after that. He stayed on the attack, even from behind.
Five, 8.
3 points now. Crowd engaged. Player duly pumped up. That's what this one's about.
These two have had a shockingly high percentage of long serves. Normally at this stage of the game, it's a lot of half long, occasionally a long serve. And another one.
9, 5.
But ripped on the far side. Lee Sang-soo, so ready. He generates a lot of power without a lot of time to prepare a backswing.
Left, 9, 5. 10, 5.
And just like that, it's 5 game points to level things up here in this semi-final for Lee Sang-soo.
11,
Done.
5. Game
1-1.
to Lee.
Here we go. He'll be hoping that that's just the start of a wave of support that might carry him to a final. But we've got a long, long way to go just yet.
Time.
That's Incheon, is it?
Incheon, the coach who's been there with the Korean team for quite some time. It's awesome to see former players give back to the sport over the years. And yeah, since I got started in commentary, I've seen him with the Korean team. So
First game,
good to see him
Lee
back.
to serve.
Great to see that
Love
his
all.
journey has gone so deep into this event here in Incheon as well. Thanks to Lee Sang-soo, who's leveled things up at 1-1 with an 11-5 second game win.
Love 1. long.
This is a nice change of pace here from Lin Yunru. Spins it after rallies have been quite fast and deep on the table. Breaks the timing there.
2-1.
We don't give you stats on it, but serve return is something I noticed that you guys, when you're offering the expert commentary, come back to time and time again. Just feels like he's in a good place with those right now. A couple of great examples from Lee Sang-soo, who's leveled up at 2-2.
Oh, Jing Lee high, beautiful shot there. Forehand step around after a chop block. There's a chop block, don't see that too often. Soft hands from Lin Yunru, and then the inside out forehand for the put away. Leaves him under the table for the top spin. Look at the bend on that ball. And a tomahawk chop block. Lost side, this is crazy. To do that, it's very rare. Koki Niwa did it quite a bit. Lin Yunru pulling out some crazy creativity here. This is something you see from Truls. Lin Yunru channeling just about anybody he needs in the moment here to play creatively. Looks like heavy underspin and side spin, but it's mostly side spin, which is why it's overlifted on the other side.
And I've worked with you long enough now to know that nothing quite gets your juices flowing like a good chop block. And a couple, in fact, Christmas came twice in 2 points for you just now.
Table tennis fans love it because it's just such a fine, finessed shot.
That's what he'd been looking to do, and this time he gets what he wanted.
Just to go back to your point about receive, the earlier in the rally the shot, the more important the shot. So the serve, the most important shot when you're serving, and the receive, just the same for the opponent. Nice combination here, short to the forehand, brings him in and sends him deep to the backhand. It's a test of footwork. A player like Lin Yunru, I don't know if there is quite another, so let's say Lin Yunru will move in for that banana flick time and time again if it's deep enough to get the opening attack.
This time, a little bit more punch in it on the backhand and more depth as well from Lee Sang-soo.
Yeah, he's not afraid to serve long, as we've seen, and he's getting quick into the rallies. 3 points in a row, and suddenly it's leveled out here because of that bold play from the 34-year-old.
Left, 5 all. Left, Lin.
So that was not nearly vertical. Sometimes they will vocalize and explain. The hand signal made that clear.
Nearly. Nearly.
6-5.
As close as can be to some double happiness. The net right near that back edge. A little bit of a higher toss. And you got a passive receive, second guessing. Lee Sang-soo looking for the attack as he has been. Realized this was going to be unlikely if he took a good swing.
He just got hurried up twice there on either side of the body, Lee Sang-soo.
Yeah, Lin Yunru picking this backhand to backhand. I guess Lee Sang-soo started it there, and then it was the forehand, the agility as he leans around to get that into play.
I just think of him as a bamboo. He just bends and he's just resilient and then he flicks. He's got strength. That's my thing with Lin Yunru. He's not a sledgehammer.
Second time we've seen a tomahawk chop block. Again, the forehand side of the racket. And a different answer this time around. Lee Sang-soo Passive with the little side swipe. One more
5
passive
edge.
ball from Lin Yunru. Soft hands, the control. Bamboozled. Thought you'd like that.
Thank you. Oh!
Edge 6.
And there are so many different ways to get it done in this sport.
I'd be curious to see statistically right now what percentage of Lee Sang-soo's serves are long. It feels like 50 or more when it's usually closer to 20.
On that reserve
7.
there, really asking a question of Lin that he couldn't answer.
Yeah, the receive is very strong. Inside the table, the backhand, looking to get aggressive where he can. On the receive, he's been good. And look here on serve, points, neither player better on serve than on receive. But Lin Yunru, 1.8% better.
Edge all.
And given it's that tight, those numbers are going to change inevitably, maybe fairly quickly. 8-all. And 1-all, remember, in the match.
Backhand near the table. Lee Sang-soo, that's been his key ingredient.
9 edge.
So this one is boiling up to its climax. Game 3, and it's tight, serving 9-8, Lee Sang-soo. Now he has a
Edge
chance to
10.
get in front in this match. Game points as he prepares to receive serve.
Yeah, 4 straight points. I think maybe even 5. I feel like he was down by 3 at some point. 5-8? If so, either way, quite a streak here. Mentally tough.
That's mommy.
Nine, 10.
Not yet, son.
Man, being a parent in the crowd, I think at any age, no matter how old your kid is, your heart is just so much out there on the floor with them. 1 game point saved, 1 more to go for Lee Sang-soo.
Left. 9, 10.
Remember, Yunru serving at around, what, 43% we saw just a moment ago. Oh,
11, 9.
there's the
Game
breaks,
lead.
and that's a big one as he gets the second game. He's turned it around from 1 down to 2-1 up. A popular win with the majority of the fans in the Infinity Arena.
Yeah, it's always tough when the ball comes off the net. This one stays very deep, and by the time Yunru takes the shot, the ball's already below net height. With Lee Sang-soo on the other side, it's tough to put it away. So 11-9, another win, and Lee Sang-soo leads 2-1.
Let's take advantage of a moment here to actually analyze how and why this one has turned around from game 1 that was won by the man from Chinese Taipei. What have you seen?
Well, I've seen Lee Sang-soo continuing to mix up the serves, continuing to get in and aggressive quickly.
10.
Good to see Pham on screen there.
You say imagine being in the crowd, imagine coaching your child in one of these as well. It's a different dynamic.
Yeah, that's right. You're basically putting yourself in the hot seat in 2 ways. Although in some senses, I think the reason it is hard for a parent to be in the crowd is because it's like being a passenger in a car. You can't actually hold the steering wheel. You wish you could win it for your child.
Fourth game. Lead serve. Love all.
A coach just a little bit closer can still offer those words more than simply fighting or a cheer from the crowd.
Love 1.
Well, she and the rest of the Lee Sang-soo fans will be happy with what they're seeing. He has built up a head of steam here. And he's a player who, once he gets going, well, there's a physicality, there's a purposefulness to him.
This was crazy impressive. It came back so awkwardly with side spin. And if Lee Sang-soo just was rattled for a moment and tried to kill that, oh, the side spin! Like a basketball on a finger, it was already spinning, and he just kept adding to that spin.
And that was the angle we needed, wasn't it? Perfect.
Left 2 love.
He's got him thinking deeply here. This is tough. When your opponent is handling your fast, long serves and is attacking inside the table when you play it short, there's this pressure to make it extra short.
Love 4.
Continuing with massive momentum here, Lee Sang-soo on fire right now. "12 of the last 16 points here.
What a
for
run.
Lee Sang-soo, yeah.
But not this time.
1-4.
So on the board in the fourth.
In terms of parents, Lin Yunru's mom often is at these events. She likes to be here, but I do feel that Wang Yitze fills this role from the bench very much now.
He's not the biggest of guys, but he just provides so much, doesn't he?
The greatest in the game have not been the biggest of men or women. Speed, heart. Yeah.
Am I right in saying we've never seen a Korean in a WTT Champions final?
You might be.
I think I am. Yeah, we just had a little look at that.
Yeah, Fraser's a little bit more on top of that one.
Yeah, he says yes. He says that's the case.
6-1.
Well, that's what we could be on the brink of. Long way to go just yet in this one, but there's a story here. It's a story we've told all week long about the potential for the home players. It's getting noisy.
I feel that even though he's won world rank number 45, Lee Sang-soo is one of only 2 players, both in history, who've beaten Ma Long, Fan Zhendong, and Xu Xin. The other one's playing the match after this, Patrick Franziska.
Fighting fire with fire this time, Lim Yunru.
I think the coach and the fans of Lin Yunru need to do everything they can to make him feel at home right now. I do feel like there's a pride, a national pride, patriotism, if you will, within Korea to fight so hard, especially in front of the home crowd.
H2.
8-2. Yeah, nailed it. You know, I've done a lot in soccer down the years, and that's characteristic of their teams. It's one thing you know, rugby as well, that it's always a tough fight. They always give you the fight.
9-2.
Beautiful backhand down the line, Lee Sang-soo continuing to add to his already one-sided scoreboard. The backhand bomba, as they say, near the table. He's setting it up so well.
Oh, wow.
2-10.
He sets up 8 game points with an absolutely scorching performance that Lee Dong-gook absolutely would have loved.
And did. I mean, the reaction.
As a striker himself, he's thinking, yeah, that's the equivalent of smashing a volley in from the edge of the area.
8 game points.
11-2. Game to Lee.
Very often in sport, we get carried away talking about momentum. I don't think that's inappropriate here at all. This guy is riding a wave. Yeah, you go, son, says Mum. And is it going to carry him all the way to the final? 5-9-2. He wins the last 3 games to put himself in a commanding position here in the Infinity Arena.
Time.
자, 서비스 변화주고. 자, 힘 변화주 뺄 때하고 하나만 계속해 가게.
It's happening. An awful lot of people inside this arena came here today in hope, maybe more than expectation, who knows? But Lee Sang-soo shows belief here, and he's shown it really all the way through to come back from a sticky start to this one, to be where he is. This is impressive, but if there's one player on form in Korea this week who could stop that, it's the man standing opposite him.
This is amazing. Again, 4 different moments in this point. It felt like surely one would win. The side spin, Lee Sang-soo gets a net from ground, and then ripping backhand. Smart play to play it a little softer here, and he tries for a ripping backhand boomerang shot around the side of the ball. A Sora-like backhand from down near the ground.
I was just going to ask you before that stunning rally before, how does Lim Won-roo slow down the juggernaut, derail the train, do something about stopping this rush we've seen from his opponent?
Well, mixing it up, taking a little bit off the push to leave it inside the table, but also being specific about hitting him in the elbow so he's uncomfortable to crowd the table and take the opening attack.
2-1.
But it all depends on where the opponent is standing in that moment, what they're feeling, what they're expecting. So in general, surprise factor has to be high.
One, 3.
As a player yourself, adrenaline, can it work 2 ways? Can it make you a little bit over gung-ho, or do you just have to control what must be coursing through this guy's body right now?
Yeah, it's a fine balance, harvesting that energy and turning it into something positive.
1-4.
It's just like, what do they say, a knife's edge. I mean, it could go either way. If you're a little bit too excited, sometimes you tense up, you get over anxious, you start your swing before the ball's there when you're not in position. But at the same time, you need a bit of fuel, because if you're too relaxed, sometimes you don't have what you need.
5-1.
Well, he's drawn the sting in this game so far. 5-1, Lim Won-roo.
He's had good starts early on before. Lee Sang-soo has turned things around and really rained on his scoreboard parade in the second half.
Yeah, because what he does, you say streaky, whatever you want to call it, once he gets going, it builds and it builds on the evidence of what we're seeing here from Lee Sang-soo.
Good retrieval here. That forehand flick. Not an easy ball, but watch what happens here. Lee Sang-soo not only gets it back, but gets it back deep on the backhand line.
I sometimes wonder where these players rank in reaction times. I saw something with F1 drivers the other day, and they were calculating reaction times and what have you. It's got to be high up.
With Timo Boll, I think they had him compete against a fighter pilot. I saw one where he competed against a gamer in real time, you know, have to be super fast. But they said fighter pilot reaction time.
3-6.
Well, he's the top gun at the moment, Lee Sang-soo, as he looks to just eat into this deficit with a handy lead under his belt.
It's a long way to go to just reach that ball, let alone give it enough racket speed to carry it over the net. It's not the first time we've seen Lim Won-roo try to chop from down near the ground. Smart play, side spin to keep it out of reach. Still baseline. That's how much spin was coming in. This is a big point here. Remember, it's a must-win every game for the rest of this match for Lin Yunru. Lee Sang-soo has earned himself a good position, much like he did against his last left-handed opponent, Lin Gaoyuan.
He's just nudging his way now towards a path back into this match, Lim Min-roo.
Yeah, reaction time right off the bounce, using the parallel of the table. That's how high the standard is on both sides. Look at Mom here.
Sang-soo's mum has gone from euphoria to prayer, and it's not going to get any less nerve-wracking from here on in, I'm afraid, Mum. One way or another.
Lee Sang-soo's won his fair share of points with ripping counters off the bounce. This was not one of those. This was a very in-between point that he felt could have gone either way. It was a bit of an escape.
It's 10-5. It's an opportunity to make it a 2-3 match now for Lim Min-roo, who serves.
Lee Sang-soo's had some comebacks, some memorable comebacks this week.
Yeah, I spoke about him with a very good metric, a stat when it comes to winning game points faced. It was something like 11 out of 16, I think, prior to this match.
Just shy of 75%.
7-10.
And he keeps adding to it. I mean, the stats. Nerves of steel. No timeout called yet.
There's another one. At
Just
what point does this become a thing?
A thing as in a comeback
in the mind
thing?
of Lim Min-roo, yeah.
It's got to already sort of be a thing. Lin Min-roo's got to be doing everything he can right now to not only be confident, but remind himself that in this game alone, he's got the majority of the points and he's got the serves on hand. There it is.
The serve makes the difference, yeah.
Second bounce on the table, an unusual serve for a guy who usually goes pendulum. Very little, light backspin, just enough and short enough to keep it under the racket, long enough to invite him to attack and short enough to get it under, and it seals the game.
So Team Lim Min-roo and fans of Lim Min-roo believe again. He's got to go the long way round to book a place in the final, but he'll back himself, they'll back him. And for the neutrals, this is turning out to be every bit as entertaining and nourishing as we kind of knew it would be. Thank you so much for being with us here in Incheon, where we are in a truly captivating first men's singles semi-final at the WTT Champions Incheon 2025. It's 3-2 to the hometown hero, the world-ranked number 45 outsider Lee Sang-soo against Lim Min-roo, who has been superb here in this event so far this week in Incheon.
Love all.
He's just won a game and now he serves in the next.
One love.
Placement consistent with the last point of last game, quite similar. Shorter forehand.
lap 2.
The Chole from coach, not player there, right?
Yeah, time and time again. If you ever hear Lin Yunru say Chole, it's going to sound more like this. Chole. You hear a shout, it's from the bench. Lighten the crowd, maybe. Just making sure vision is clear for the players.
That's a familiar serve. Well, although it's wider than we've seen more often than not.
Bottle challenge. Left-handed players have it, but a righty versus a lefty, you have that opportunity too. I think it's a very valuable serve against a left-handed player.
And then teeing off across the table.
Yeah, this backhand, we've seen time and time again, out of the pocket from the side of the body, a little bit Krianga-like in that way. It's a longer stroke, and it's so powerful.
Was that bold? Was that a shot that he obviously thought he could make it?
Yeah, I think it's good spin variation. The placement, the last 4 serves or so, Lin Yunru has been playing similarly. It wouldn't surprise me if he mixes it up, but at the same time, if it's working, why change it? So back edge here for Lee Sang-soo to escape. The serve was to that same sweet spot on the table. Yeah, in terms of that boldness, from the start of this match, Lee Sang-soo has been playing bold, and he's turned it up a notch. Game 3, when he turned things around, remember, he was down quite a bit. The world rankings might be a little bit misleading. Lin Yunru's better than 14 in the world in terms of what he's capable of, and Lee Sang-soo definitely better than 45. And it doesn't mean they're wrong, it's just how volatile the system is. And here's the timeout now for Lin Yunru.
What's your take on the timing of that call from Lin Yunru? The timeout.
I think it's right. He got through the last game. He needs it now.
자, 그 다음 볼 자신 있으면 유기체에 가볍게 하고 나서 차고 입고 가도 돼. 1차 서비스는 빠른 맞춰 가지고, 그리고 차이점 들어왔을 때는 그때는 빠른 맞춰 들어가려고 그러다가 승자 하나씩 잡아줘야 돼. 그것만 좀 생각하면 될 것 같아. 자, 그다음 연결되는 건 전부 다 공항이 다 리더라고. 오케이? 자, 집중해. 자, 한 포인트 끊어서 해야 돼.
Storytelling. And just to send, what were we hearing from Wang Yizhe there?
That's a good question. I was distracted thinking about how differently Lin Yunru eats a banana than Patrick Franziska. More like a turtle, very small bite. He does live close to Turtle Island, so maybe that's why. But on the Korean side, go wide to the forehand. We saw that work out well. He set it up with shots, and lefties love to step around. A banger of a point right out of the timeout. A rally that went on longer than expected as Lin Yunru covers the middle and Lee Sang-soo does just the same. Athleticism required here, the power on both sides. These are two players who've been working out hard to not only bulk up on Lin Yunru's side, but to stay in shape the way he is. Lee Sang-soo, a man of muscle, statue-like status.
Feels like we're at that point now. Every point assumes huge proportions.
There it was. You heard it? That was a Chole.
It's twice now we've seen a really probing return from the Korean, but Lin Yunru more than a match for it.
Yeah, it was in between. He shows push, and then he guides it forward with very little spin and a decent amount of speed for a ball lacking topspin. It's so clean, quite consistent. He plays the length of the table. It is a fearlessness that I think he knows. Sometimes you have to trick your mind into doing difficult things. You know this well.
And that's, if it does carry him to a win, that's what you're going to pinpoint here. But that's still an if. There's still an asterisk against this because Lin Wenru is just too good to write off.
Think back to some of his biggest matches. Of course, Frankfurt, the champions event, taking down some of the biggest names in the game. It's been a few years, though. But since the Tokyo 2020, which was in 2021, Lin Wenru has been one of the best in the world.
Yeah, the title drought at WTT level at least is at 17 months, I think it is now, for Lin Wenru.
When I watch this point, we'll come back to that here, I just think about the weight room and how Lin Wenru's been hitting it hard. It took a lot there to find power out of an uncomfortable position. Clever shot, good patience, and it pays off. Lee Sang-soo recognizes this one's going to come off the table. And with the short stroke, look at this. Just snaps up and guides it to the short side. Very unusual shot in that moment. Not what Lin Wenru was planning for.
Just quickly, Lee Sang-soo is seen as a captain. He's seen as a kind of a father figure, a leader in many ways. And he's almost leading this room, this arena, these supporters. You feel that there's togetherness in this space right now.
Yeah, that's sort of the patriotism, that fighting spirit, the family vibe that is here. It's bringing everyone up, let's say.
Oh, wow. Wow, what a get, what a return. And he didn't just block.
It's the second time that we've seen Lee Sang-soo in a position where returning the ball would have been impressive enough, but he's got bigger plans. Returning it with interest, with a very specific placement in mind. Almost anywhere else on the table, just a few other spots might have worked, but almost anywhere else, and he's out of position. Lin Wenru's going to capture that point. Perfect.
And now he stands on the brink of some WTT champions history. A Korean on home table, vying to make it to the final. 3 match points for Lee Sang-soo. And if ever a crowd could cheer you across the line, it's this one.
Big backhand under pressure, stable cross table. Lin Wenru saves a match point to send it into a third towel break.
I've got the tingles here. This is something, this atmosphere.
Every single point is a different level of pressure and a timeout now on the Korean side.
And that just helps us build this story. Should we stop and breathe for a moment?
Let's try.
아까 이야기했지만은 지금 다 풀리가 박자에 다 맞으면 지금 다 걸려. 다 들어가지. 근데 지금 약간 볼 꺼지는 거라든지 아니면은 좀 천천히 왔을 때 너무 빨리 박자가 들어가려고 그러니까 지금 감정하고 있는데 일단은 상고 오고 하니 끝내는 박자가 들어가고 그리고 지금 안 들어오고 들어올라가. 지금 만약에 스텝 스텝 잘 들어가면은 좋은데 하나 그냥 내가 때는 미들이 나왔어요. 그거 넣고 난 다음에 이야기지만은 지금 돌리는 게 어디냐고 밑에 셀밖에 없잖아, 그지? 그러면은 강하게 돌리면 하나 눌러주면 되고 살짝 돌리면 그냥 넉다가 나가라고 가능하게. 무슨 말인지 알지? 그리고 미들까지는 포인트 잡다 생각하고 이렇게 잡고 하나 가는데 이것도 잡을 때 미들로 가면 또 포인트 걸려. 그러니까 백사이드로 가서 이렇게 가면 좀 좋을 것 같고 일단은 무조건 두 개 과감하게 해가지고 서비스를 무조건 3구, 5구 안에 득점한다 생각했어요.
One last piece of advice, one last stretch, one last push, maybe, for Lee Sang-soo, with the hopes of a nation on his shoulders here, and a chance to make it to the final.
10-8.
He serves with 2 match points. Oh, too good.
10-9.
Wow. Incheon Gao. Lin Winru here with the spin against these shots. Secure on the parallel, under pressure. 2 match points saved. And 1 more for Lee Sang-soo out of his timeout. Looking for the spin game security where he can. It's a fine balance of playing bold and playing secure.
That's it!
11-9.
And how fitting
Game and match to Lee.
was that
Lee
finish?
wins for 2 games.
It was bold, it was brave, it was the backhand bomba that had gotten him here. Lee Sang-soo did not have an easy ride. This was